to Sugar Coated. I'm your host, Adrienne Garland, the CEO and founder of She Leads Media. For far too long, women have been conditioned to sugarcoat their words, their actions, and the way they show up in the world, and to conform to certain cultural norms and ideals. This is inherently designed to keep those who are outside of the norm from gaining power, prestige, wealth, and influence, preventing more women from being recognized and respected as the powerful leaders that we truly are. Join me each week as we dive into raw conversations with remarkable, uncompromising, and inspirational women that will encourage you to strip away your sugarcoating and move boldly in the direction of your magnificent dreams. Hi, everyone. This is Adrienne Garland, and welcome to Sugar Coated. It's a podcast where we talk about all things and we don't use any sugar coating. I am so excited today to welcome my friend and my guest, Linda Maloney. She is I actually met Linda when she spoke at a conference, She Leads conference, several years back, and she is just a force. Linda is a retired naval flight officer. She's an author, an MBA, and she's the CEO of her company, Women Veterans Speakers. Linda has a huge heart. She is a wonderful person, and you'll hear about an incredible project that she's working on that promotes women. So you can see why I invited Linda here today. She's nonstop, and I can't wait to introduce all of you to her. So welcome to Sugar Coated, Linda.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Oh my gosh. Well, we were just, speaking before, and I thought we should turn the recording on because, you said how busy you are. We as women do so much and we're managing so much. And, in addition to all of that I went over, you also work full time. So just how do you kind of manage all of that? I mean, I know it's a trite question, like how do you do it all? But how is that working for you?
So, I always say, I want to, clear things off my plate. But to be honest, I feel like that's my MO. That's like who I am, is to keep a full plate and juggling. And as much as it drives me crazy, I think it also, energizes me too.
Yep.
And I really try to, I'm all about organization and project management. So much so it probably drives my family crazy, my kids crazy. Really, because I try to, manage things in different piece parts. And, I'll give certain things a certain period of time. And I really feel like that's how I can manage so many different things. I'll manage my schedule, down to the nth degree.
Yep.
I give myself, so much time to manage this project. And I know that, I'm working my regular job during this time period. But that, when I take my kids to swim team, then I have 2 hours in the car and, I can work on this. And so I try to really just manage it in different, piece parts. And also, I realize there's only so many hours in the day and the work's always going to be there tomorrow. And so if I don't, unless there's an absolute deadline, that I can push it off to the next day and just tackle it again.
Yeah.
And I just, I wish I wasn't so passionate about so many things, but that's just who I am. And I just try to live life to the fullest. And if I could add 4 more hours to each day, I really would.
You can deprive yourself of sleep, but that's no fun. Yeah. That's funny. I think that that's a reason why I really, like you so much is you have all of these different passions and you are able to sort of, fit everything in. I think I'm sure there's, a billion type of people, but, the two big categories of people are sort of the people that, they go real deep into one subject area and they're super expert at that area, or there's people that are, multi-passionate. And it's so funny. There's a woman, she actually recently passed away, that I had read for years and years, and I loved her so much. Her name is Barbara Scheer. She wrote all these, personal development type of books. And one of the books, I think it's called Refuse to Choose. And it's all about people who are called scanners. And so these are the people that are just interested in everything, like living.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I have always sort of identified as a scanner because I too am multi-passionate, if you will. And I think that, it's really interesting to live life as a scanner or a multi-passionate person. So, it's funny. I was just taking a look at, I think it was you were either interviewed on a website or maybe it was something that you spoke at. And one of the things that I didn't know about you is that you left home at 17.
I did.
Oh my goodness, Linda. What are you thinking?
I really left home at 16.
Oh my God.
And so I had a difficult growing up environment. And I just had something in me that I wanted to get away from it. And I wanted to, live life on my own and pursue my, my own life and improve my own life. And, I was a product of a very, I think we all have dysfunctional families in a way.
We all do.
But very difficult family situation with divorce and child custody battles. And I just knew I just needed to get away from that and just start living my life. And the funny thing is that, you think you're going to leave it behind and you take it with you. And so, I embarked on a journey, just to, not only professional development but also personal, I truly say that, everybody in this life needs counseling every now and then. And I've gone through lots of it to try to, because I don't think when you turn 18, you are suddenly okay if you come out of that kind of situation.
No.
And it took years of talking about it, growing. And I still feel like I'm in recovery from it. And, but thank God for the military, because I came in the military when I was 17 and, I was an air traffic controller. I was enlisted. My parents didn't have money for me to go to college. And so at my first duty station in Hawaii as an air traffic controller, I had this supervisor that I worked for. His name was Senior Chief Dickinson. And I wish I could thank him now. I haven't spoken to him since I left that duty station, but he saw something in me and he encouraged me to apply for an officer program. And I did. I got selected and the Navy paid for me to go to college. I got a degree in engineering, and in Idaho, my parents were like, where in the heck is Idaho? Because we're from the East Coast. But it was when I look back on it, I really feel like, even though all the twists and turns and my path, wasn't straight and narrow, there were a lot of deviations here and there, that I'm just really thankful for that. I'm really thankful that I feel like, God directed my path to get me where I am today.
Yeah.
And Idaho was part of that. Going to college in Idaho. So Moscow, Idaho. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think I love that story. And so many times, it's like the negative experiences that we have are the things that propel us to, I don't know if it's destiny or, like you said, sort of the right people that were put in your path. But I just think that that's beautiful. And what a better place to sort of be encouraged than in Hawaii.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh. How long were you there for?
Just for a year.
Okay.
I was supposed to be there for 3 years.
Wow.
And when I applied for this program, I then moved to San Diego, another prime place.
Yeah.
But that was really, the start of my career, in my life, really. And I'm really big on mentorship because I benefited so greatly by people walking alongside me and speaking into my life. And I just think it's so important. And I'm, a direct recipient of that, both men and women who have spoken into my life and encouraged me and walked along, me and my journey. And I'm just a very big proponent of mentorship.
Yeah. How it's funny. I think sometimes when people come out of situations that aren't the best, they also have a wall up, right? So mentors who have the best intentions to help people, sometimes those people aren't open to being helped.
Yep.
Were you the type of person that you were like seeking mentorship and very open to it? Or did that take you some time to sort of trust that, somebody wasn't trying to actually harm you? Because that could happen.
I was definitely, I think, an empty cup.
Yeah.
I looked for that. I looked for, I really did. And I think because I didn't get a lot of it growing up, I appreciated it. And but I'm also someone that wears my heart on my sleeve, and there's a yin and a yang to that. And so, no, I don't feel like I put up walls. I was definitely open to it and was very appreciative of it.
I love that. So I don't know who knows your story or who doesn't know your story, but you also had an incredible career in the military. So maybe just give us a high level overview of all of the incredible things that you did and how you were the first woman in many of these situations.
So after I graduated from college, I went to flight school, and I did not have 20/20 vision, so I could not be a pilot, but I could be a naval flight officer. And at that time period, I graduated from college in 1996, and at that time period, very few women, whether you were a pilot or a naval flight officer in the military, in the Navy, there's women that fly in every single military service, but I can only, I was an expert on what happened in the Navy. So they were only allowing 10 women NFOs, naval flight officers, to go through the program at that time. And I don't remember how many women pilots, but we were probably down on, 2 to 3 percentile of number of aviators in the military.
Wow.
Very small number. And at that time also, we could not fly in combat. The combat exclusion law was not repealed until 1993. So at that time period, I went through flight school, graduated at the top of my class, but I did not get my choice of where to go or what to fly because women could only fly in certain type of aircraft.
Got it.
Even though they could be combat aircraft, but it couldn't be in a combat situation. So I was stationed in Key West, Florida, another great place.
Oh, gosh, I feel so bad for you.
I was there 3 years. But so I flew, what we did is we trained the fleet in enemy tactics. So I flew in a 2-seater A7 and I flew in an A6, which is an EA6A, and we would simulate enemy tactics and we would train the fleet, train combat aviators, ships on what the enemy looked like. I had a very interesting experience during my time in Key West because we had I was flying an A6 with a pilot in my squadron, and we were flying up in Jacksonville, Florida, and we had a total hydraulic failure. We ended up ejecting out of our aircraft over the ocean in February of 1991. I was the first woman to eject using a Martin Baker seat, which is one of the primary ejection seats for military aircraft. And so I was in the water for about an hour, was, picked up by a search and rescue helicopter, was back up flying in a couple of weeks, but very interesting story because Martin Baker is a company out of England and they give everyone who's ejected a tie. Well, I'm a woman. They called me up. They said, "Do you want a tie?" And I said, "Whatever you want to give me is great." They made this little pewter pin that was special for me. And they wanted me to fly over and receive it from the Princess of Wales, Princess Diana. The Navy didn't allow me to do that, but I just thought it was a very cool story. And so I've been in contact with them through the years. And they actually just recently developed a special watch through the Bremont Company, the Bremont Watch Company, for just ejectees. And they give you half price. The watches are really expensive, like $5,000. So my husband surprised me with one a couple years ago, and they basically let you purchase it for half price. But I've been in contact with them. They're a great company. And I don't know how many women total have ejected so far, maybe like 10. But I know a couple of the women that have ejected. And so we've shared our stories together. But anyway, so after that squadron tour, the combat exclusion law was repealed. And I was able to go to a combat squadron and fly on and off aircraft carriers.
Whoa.
So I had a great career. I did 20 years. My last tour in the military, my last 5 years, I switched over to what's called AEDO, Aerospace Engineering Duty Officer, which is you work as a program manager for major aviation programs within the Navy, and it really set me up nicely for when I retired to work as a program manager in defense type programs after I left the military. On a personal note, I didn't get married until I was 39.
Mm-hmm.
And my last tour in the military, I got married. My husband was not military. And I had my first child at the age of 42.
Love
and
it.
then had my second child at the age of 45. So I have 2 boys, and I also have a grown stepdaughter too. So that's, my husband and I both are older parents. So we're pretty exhausted, but it's good. I mean, it's honestly, I can truly say it's the best thing I've done in my life. As much as, as any parent, your kids take you to the end of yourself sometimes. They're really the best thing I've done in my life.
Aw. Wow. Yeah. And I mean, after having a career like that in the military, I mean, whoa, I'm like, my mouth is open, like being ejected, being in the water for an hour. Like, I mean, the questions are swirling in my head. Like, were you prepared for, like water? Like, were there sharks? Like I have a lot of questions
think about that, but I did get into my raft. So, and then a search and rescue swimmer rappelled down to me and wrapped me in a horse collar. And I went up to the helicopter that way.
Girl.
And, but it was, I mean, I'm actually more afraid of the situation looking back on it now, because I think when you're young,
yeah,
and, you're fearless, and, you don't have, you
have the kids too. Yeah.
Yeah. You have kids.
Yeah.
So it's a funny story, because I guess my commanding officer at the time called my parents and, said, hey, this happened to your daughter. And my mom had been laying down taking a nap, and she woke up and she was like, that really happened? And she called him back and she said, could you tell me that all again?
Wow.
And yeah, so many things could have went wrong. And so I'm just very thankful. I met the pilot of that helicopter that rescued me years later. I had a book published in 2012 called Military Fly Moms. It's a collection of stories of 70 women. My story's in it too.
Beautiful.
Of women who were either active duty or veterans that flew in the military, and they all were moms. And so that's why it's called Military Fly Moms. It talks all about their growing up and why they chose to join the military, and what it was like to fly in combat, if they flew in combat, and what the legacy is they want to pass down to their kids. But through that book, I was able to meet, because you lose touch with people in the military, but I was able to regain contact with the search and rescue swimmer who rescued me, and also the pilot.
Wow.
And I didn't know this at the time, but the pilot, my radio was dead when I was in the water in my raft. It was the first time I had not checked my radio before I went flying. I always would pre-flight my gear like you're supposed to, but we were in a hurry walking to the jet that day, and I didn't turn my radio on and off like I always do. And so my radio was dead. So I'm in the raft trying to use my radio. It's not working. So I threw out what's called a sea dye marker into the water, and that is like fluorescent orange or green, which will show your position. And then I also popped a pencil flare, which it doesn't go up that high, and especially on a bright day. It was cloudy, but it was a bright afternoon. It was around 1:00. So the helicopter pilot said, was your radio really dead? And I said, well, yes. Why? He and I talked after the book was published. He found me and we chatted. And I said, yes, why? And he said, because we called out over the radio, Gulf Delta 110, which was our call sign, pop your smoke. And that meant to pop a pencil flare. He said, at that very moment, the pencil flare came in front of our helicopter.
No
and he
way.
said, that's how we found you. And he said, so there obviously was somebody looking out for you that day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I still keep in touch with him now. So it was really great story.
Oh my, that is, yeah, there is definitely someone watching over you.
Yeah.
That is, oh
Yeah.
my God, oh, my heart, like, I have tears in my eyes. Wow, that is incredible. Oh, and so, gosh, so you left the military, you retired, still very young.
Yes.
And did you go right into, I mean, I know that you said that you sort of did something different before you retired, but did you go right into like a corporate job? I'm kind of curious how and why you started the Speakers Bureau.
So I did, it wasn't corporate, it was a defense company. So I started as a program manager,
Okay.
and it probably was within a couple years after retiring, I had the desire to write my book. And it took me almost 8 years to get the book together,
Mm.
just because I was having babies and, just busy. I was just newly married too, and life is busy. But through the book is when I started doing some speaking myself. Life got too busy for me to do any speaking, like travel long distance, because my husband's his career started really taking off. And so he was traveling quite a bit. So I had connected with another woman veteran, Grace Tiscarana Sato, and we started collaborating on how we could get our voices out there, because she and we had this vision, or we had this, I guess, a vision of elevating women veterans' voices, because we felt like the media, or there's this perspective that all women veterans are victims, and not that it doesn't happen. Things don't happen, and there's not military sexual trauma and homelessness, but we felt like that was the only story that was being told about women veterans. It wasn't the complete story. So she and I, came up with this idea to start a Women Veteran Speakers Bureau. And we did that. We started, gosh, I'm trying to remember when, probably like 2012. And we were very small. We only had like 10 core members. We had a different name. And so we just started learning the business. And a few years after that, 2015, I really wanted to grow the business, change the business model. And she's, like me, very busy, has lots of things on her plate. So at that point, she didn't have time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I took it over, changed the name, changed the business model, and started adding women speakers, coaches, trainers, facilitators to my business. And so it's been consistently growing every year. This year has not been good because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
But last year was our best year.
Oh,
and
congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah, I decided to change up the business model about 6 months ago. So we've adjusted to more of a connection and marketing agency. So our members pay an annual membership fee, which is actually very low, but we don't charge any booking commission unless they want us to completely get involved and do all the booking and the negotiation and coordination. But our basic membership is, they join the speakers agency. We do tons of marketing on LinkedIn and email marketing, and to get their profile out there, and then potential clients will contact them, or that sometimes contact us, and we'll connect them with the speaker. And so, yeah, I love it. I'm very
amazing.
passionate about it. And so we're in the process right now. We probably lost half of our members when we changed up our business model. So we're in the growth stage again. We probably have about 50 additional members we're in the process of adding right now. And so, yeah, we're in an exciting time period right now, because we're growing and changing. And, but I love it. I love, people always ask me why, I don't write my own book, or I really try to push myself. And really, I love promoting and highlighting other women veterans. It's just kind of my thing, and I love doing that.
I love it so much. And, it's funny. And listen, I just have to state that, here we are in the pandemic. I don't have a private office in my home, and I've got lots of noises going on around me, and my dog is barking. So this is real life. But when you were talking about the starting of the business and having a partner and, she was busy, I have the same exact story as you with my conference. So our conference started out, it had a different name. I had a partner. We did it together for a couple of years, and then her life got busy. She has 3 kids. I wanted to grow the business. I thought that there was something really special there. And so, that wasn't sort of in her, what she wanted to move on to. So I took the business, changed the business model, changed the name. I did everything the exact same thing as you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you spoke at the She Leads conference, and I can't recall what year it was. I think it was 2016, but there was another woman, and I literally just interviewed her a couple weeks back on the Sugar Coated podcast, and her name is Bobby Carlton. And she's out of Massachusetts, and she has a women's speakers bureau that has the same model as you. It's a yearly membership, and she does the same thing. She, highlights women speakers and promotes them, but doesn't take any booking fees. And I just think if you haven't met Bobby, I thought you might know her, but if you haven't met Bobby, I think that you guys have something to talk about. I think there's a lot of synergies there. So
yeah. Okay.
Just
Great.
throwing that out there. Yeah. We're all connected. And I feel like there's a thread that runs through all of this. And something else that you said that really, really resonates with me is this idea that you are looking to elevate women's voices, and in particular, women veterans' voices. She Leads Media is also very, passionate and driven to elevate women's voices, thoughts, opinions. So I just really admire everything that you're doing. And also the fact that, you are trying to change the narrative of what's in the media, because you're right. When you do think of, women veterans, I, of course, think of you and don't think of you as a victim at all. But when I do think about that, there is the whole narrative around just sexual harassment and things like that. So I love that you're out there advocating and really giving other opportunities for women veterans to get everything, their stories, their positive stories out there. I love it. Yes. So with that, I also know that you're working on a really interesting project. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Proudly She Served?
So the Proudly She Served project is proudlysheserved.com. And I got connected with an artist, Steve Alpert, out of New York. He had contacted me a couple years ago. He had gotten my name from one of my women veteran speaker members, and he was interested in painting some women veterans, their portraits, large portraits. And he had already painted one. And Dawn Halfacre, who owns a defense company out of Washington, D.C. And so long story short, we now have 12 women veterans, where there are a couple who are active duty. And our probably most famous one is Senator Tammy Duckworth. And we have a collection of women who are well-known and not well-known, a great collection of women from the military and different military services. And it's basically to highlight women veterans and to highlight their service and why they chose to serve. And so we've been working on this project now for about 2 years. We're in the process of teaming with the Military Women's Memorial in Washington, D.C. and Arlington. And we're going to become a project within their organization.
Wow.
And we are going to have a huge gala event at the Military Women's Memorial in March 2022. It's during Women's History Month, where and we'll also have a book launch also. There's going to be a coffee table style book that accompanies the portraits. Mm-hmm. So that's stage 1. And then stage 2 is we're going to have a national exhibition tour where the portraits are going to travel throughout the country at select locations, with the whole goal to, motivate young girls and young women to, achieve their dreams and to, and just highlight that women can do whatever they want. And we have such a great country and so many amazing opportunities for women. And so I'm really excited about it. We have a great team. We're all working pro bono. We're in the process right now of trying to hire a director of fundraising, director of development to help us raise funds for the project. And, but we have some just amazing young college interns that are working on our project. And yeah, it's really an exciting project. And we've already had so much positive response to it.
This is amazing. And I'm just taking a look at the website as you're talking, and you've got a big team of people here really working on this project, and I can't wait. I mean, I want to attend. So please invite me, especially because it's in 2022. Let's hope that there's some sort of a vaccine by then. But I just think that this is such an incredible project that you're working on. And, it just goes to show that all have certain areas of focus that pull us and put us in the right places. And to me, this is like, you sort of had this, I would say, logical, right? Very operations driven type of career. And you're moving into a much more creative realm. And I just think it's beautiful. It's incredible.
I've definitely learned a lot, and it's been a great opportunity. It really has. And Steve and I are a great team. I always say that we're brother and sister from another mother. We offset. We both have different skill sets, and we started at the ground floor in this, and we've really built it up. So I'm really proud of the project. But we have such a long way to go.
Yeah, and now in addition to all of this, you are working full time.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think that that's incredible.
And plus I have kids. I'm very busy, active. Both of my boys are competitive swimmers. And my oldest son, who just turned 17, who is 6'5".
Is he really?
215 pounds. Yeah. He's being recruited by colleges right now for swim.
Yeah.
He's a very good swimmer. So it's been a little bit crazy with the pandemic because their schedules are all over, the map right now. And so now we're up at 4 a.m. every day so they can be at the pool by 5 a.m.
Wow.
Which isn't our norm. And so, yeah.
Wow. So you have a full plate, you have a full life. And to just kind of circle back around to it too, it seems like you have a relationship with your parents, which I sort of heard in there a little bit. And I think that that's an incredible thing as well. Am I picking that up correctly?
With my parents?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my father has passed away before I was married. And my mom and my stepdad lived in South Carolina, and my mom passed away also 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very quickly from cancer. It was such a big shock to our family because we always thought, she was relatively young. She was in her 70s and early 70s, and so it was a big shock to our family. And she was such a dynamo and had so much life to live. And so my stepdad, we recently just moved him into a senior citizen place in Atlanta. And that was, I'm sure that many of your listeners can relate to this, when you as a child have to start, moving into that role to help your parents.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. He had a huge house. We had to get the house sold. We had to, get all the possessions in the house, situated, either going to, kids or going with him or going to the new owners of the house and getting him moved. And I was the program manager for all that.
Of course.
Of course. And my brother and my sister were very helpful. But it was a lot of work. And, but he's somewhere safe now and he loves it. It's a brand new place. And it's hard, that whole, circle of life.
Sandwich generation type of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, and then just considering everything with the pandemic, there must be a lot of angst around, just making sure that he's safe and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm just so inspired by you. I think that you have accomplished so much, and I'm so grateful that we continue to be in each other's networks. I know that I'm
totally agree.
a supporter of women veteran speakers, and I do have an online She Leads event coming up soon. So I'm going to take a look at the site, and I'm going to invite one or maybe more speakers to the She Leads online event.
And that's great too. And I just want to say this too about the women veteran speakers. Like my focus is to bring on board women veterans, that are speakers, coaches, trainers, facilitators. But that's really the veteran part is what gets your foot in the door. The interesting thing about our members is they all have such interesting toolbox of skills. And so I'm very particular on who I invite in, because they have to have more than, I don't say just being a veteran, but they have to appeal to our target market.
Yep.
Obviously that they're a veteran. But, our target market is corporate, colleges and universities, professional, events, professional conferences. And then, yes, we do book our speakers for veteran events, but unfortunately, many times veteran events don't have any funding, which is the unfortunate piece. And our speakers will do some pro bono events, but primarily they're for fee type of speakers. But there's so many amazing women who are members of women veteran speakers. I mean, I have a couple who have doctorates, they're published authors, they speak on high performing sales. I have one woman who has a doctorate in economics.
Awesome.
And so just an incredible variety of expertise there.
Yeah.
And many of them have, after they've left the military, they have transitioned into corporate positions. So even though they are veterans, many of them do have, a lot of corporate experience. And some are in academia also. So yeah, I definitely recommend. I have some really great speakers I could recommend to speak at one of the She Leads conferences.
Yeah. And, it's funny as I'm kind of scrolling through, I mean, it's amazing. There's, a diverse array of women. But one of the things that I see that is consistent is like every single one of them is beautiful.
Yeah.
They're like all these glamour, like they have such brightness in their eyes. And that's what I see. And that's what I feel coming through. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at everybody and see who might be a right inspirational fit, because, if you are in the military and you come out on the other side with a smile on your face and, brightness in your eye, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because it's not, the military is not for everybody.
Yeah.
I encourage people, even if you just stay in for 4 years, it's not for everybody, and not everybody chooses to serve that way, and it's not always easy. I mean, you can't work remote. You can't take Fridays off. You can't, it's definitely, some people stay in for 4, 5, 6 years, and some people stay in for a career.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. And Linda, just thank you so much for taking the time, speaking with me today, sharing your story with our listeners. I'm sure that they'll appreciate it so much. And I just look forward to continuing to, be in community with you and everybody else that you are in community with. And I just really appreciate our friendship and our professional relationship.
Ditto. I really agree. And I think the most successful part of today is that my dogs and my kids weren't involved in this phone call.
I love it. And I can't say the same thing. Thank you so much. And, why don't you can just tell people, or I can, if they go to womenveteranspeakers.com, if you're a woman veteran and you have something valuable to offer and to share, you can join, right?
Would love that.
That would be amazing. And then the Proudly She Served is proudlysheserved.com to take a look at that incredible art project and portrait project. And is there anything else that you'd like the listeners to sort of check out or maybe be able to connect with you?
We're obviously on social media. So if you go there and you want to connect with us on social media, we'd love to connect with you. And I think that's great. Thank you so much, Adrienne. This was really wonderful. And it was a great opportunity just to connect with you.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Linda. Take care.
All right. Okay. Talk to you soon.